If you want to change your life, listen carefully to this. The most powerful move you can make right now is not talking more, not proving yourself, not explaining your plans, but going silent and focusing completely on yourself. The people who win in life don't announce their next move. They build quietly, and one day their results speak so loud that explanations become unnecessary. Most people waste years trying to be seen, trying to be understood, trying to get approval. They talk about their goals, their struggles, their dreams, hoping someone will validate them. But science and real-life success stories show us something very different. Growth happens in silence. Power is built in isolation. And focus is the currency of the highest performers on earth. Let me tell you a simple truth. Every time you explain yourself, every time you react emotionally, every time you argue with people who don't understand you, you leak energy. That energy could have gone into building your body, sharpening your mind, improving your skills, or changing your financial situation. Instead, it gets wasted on noise. Think about the most successful people you admire. At some point in their life, they disappeared. They stopped posting. They stopped talking. They stopped attending every gathering. Not because they were arrogant, but because they were serious. They chose long-term respect over short-term attention. This is not about becoming cold or antisocial. This is about becoming disciplined. When you focus on yourself and stay silent, you protect your vision. Psychology tells us that when we share our goals too early, our brain receives a false sense of completion. Dopamine is released just by talking about success, which reduces the motivation to actually do the work. That's why many people talk big but achieve little. Silence keeps your hunger alive. The first powerful key to leveling up your life is this: stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, your plans, or your pain. When you constantly explain, you put yourself in a weak position. You start seeking permission to live your own life. Strong people don't over-explain. They decide, they act, and they accept that some people will never get it, and that's okay. From a psychological perspective, people often judge you based on their own limitations. If they couldn't do it, they assume you can't either. So when you explain your dreams to the wrong audience, they project their fears onto you. Silence protects you from that poison. Instead of defending yourself, invest that energy into progress. Results are the strongest reply. You don't need to convince anyone when your life speaks for itself. The SEC and key is focusing deeply on your own growth, not other people's lives. We live in an age of constant comparison. Social media has trained our brains to measure our worth against highlights of other people's lives. This destroys focus. Neuroscience shows that attention is a limited resource. Every time you scroll mindlessly, compare yourself, or worry about what others are doing, you fragment your focus. And fragmented focus leads to fragmented results. When you focus on yourself, something powerful happens. You enter what scientists call deep work. This is a state where your brain works at its highest capacity. Skills develop faster. Learning becomes deeper. Confidence grows naturally, not because you pretend, but because you're actually improving. Silence helps this process. When you're quiet, you hear yourself better. You start noticing your weaknesses without ego. You begin to understand what truly needs work: your discipline, your habits, your emotional control. Most people avoid silence because silence forces self-confrontation. When the noise stops, excuses disappear. And that's uncomfortable. But that discomfort is the doorway to transformation. People who level up don't chase motivation. They build systems. They wake up early, not to post about it, but to train their body and mind. They read, they practice, they fail privately, and they improve quietly. Over time, that quiet effort compounds into an unstoppable force. Here's something important to understand. Staying silent doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing everything without announcing it. It means letting people underestimate you while you prepare. And when the time comes, you don't need to say a word. I want you to imagine your life 1 year from now if you truly applied this. Less talking, Less reacting, less explaining, more working, more learning, more discipline, more self-respect. That version of you doesn't need approval. That version of you walks differently, speaks less, and commands more respect without asking for it. And we're just getting started. Because the next keys will show you how silence builds emotional strength, mental dominance, and a level of confidence that can't be shaken by opinions, rejection, or criticism. When you're ready, say continue, and we'll go deeper. The third powerful key to leveling up your life is learning emotional control through silence. Most people reveal their weakness the moment they react. Anger, jealousy, defensiveness, the need to clap back. These reactions feel justified in the moment, but they silently destroy your power. Neuroscience shows that emotional reactions are driven by the amygdala, the primitive part of the brain responsible for survival responses. When you react instantly, you hand control to your emotions. But when you pause and stay silent, you activate the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for logic, planning, and self-control. That pause is not weakness. It is mastery. High-level individuals don't react to every comment, insult, or provocation. They observe, they process, they choose their response, or choose silence. And silence, many times, is the most dominant response. When you stop reacting, something interesting happens. People lose power over you. Their words no longer control your mood. Their opinions stop dictating your actions. You become emotionally independent. That independence is rare and extremely attractive, not just socially, but professionally. Silence also protects your reputation. Think about how many people damage their image by overreacting, oversharing, or venting publicly. Once words are spoken, they can't be taken back. Staying silent gives you time to think, to cool down, to move strategically instead of emotionally. This Sit means suppressing emotions. It means mastering them. You still feel anger, you still feel disappointment. But instead of leaking that energy outward, you redirect it inward into training harder, studying longer, building smarter. The fourth key is disappearing to rebuild your identity. At some point, if you want to truly level up, you need a phase of isolation. Not loneliness, but intentional solitude. Science supports this. Studies on peak performers show that periods of isolation are essential for skill mastery and identity transformation. When you remove constant social input, your brain rewires. You stop being influenced by outside noise and start defining yourself from the inside. During this phase, people may misunderstand you. They may say you've changed. They may say you're distant or selfish. But growth often looks selfish to people who benefit from you staying the same. This is where staying silent becomes critical. You don't announce your transformation. You don't explain your absence. You let people feel the gap you left. And in that silence, you rebuild. You fix your habits. You strengthen your body. You sharpen your mind. You confront your flaws honestly. You design a new version of yourself, one that is disciplined, focused, and self-respecting. Most people never do this because it's uncomfortable. Isolation removes distractions, but it also removes excuses. You can't blame anyone else when you're alone with your choices. But if you survive this phase, you come back different, calmer, stronger, more selective with your words and energy. Here's the key truth. The world treats you differently when you treat yourself seriously. The fifth key is letting results speak instead of words. Weak people talk. Strong people show. There is a psychological principle called the signal versus noise effect. The more someone talks about what they're going to do, the less seriously people take them. But when someone stays quiet and suddenly delivers results, it creates shock and respect. When you stop talking about your goals, you remove pressure. You remove expectations. You are free to fail, adjust, and grow in private. This is how real confidence is built. Not from applause, but from evidence. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your self-trust increases. That inner trust is far more valuable than external validation. It becomes unshakable because it's earned. People, why? I'll start noticing without you saying anything. Your posture changes. Your energy changes. Your discipline shows. And when they ask, how did you do it? you'll realize something powerful. You didn't need their approval to get here. There is still one final key left, and this one ties everything together. It's the difference between temporary improvement and a permanent level up. Say continue, and I'll take you there. Sixth and final key is developing silent confidence. The kind of confidence that doesn't need attention, applause, or validation. This is the highest level of self-mastery. It's calm, it's grounded, and it's unbreakable. Most confidence you see online is loud because it's fragile. It needs to be seen to be felt. But silent confidence comes from alignment. Your actions match your values. Your habits match your goals. And because of that, you don't feel the urge to prove anything to anyone. Psychology shows that self-esteem grows when there is consistency between who you say you are and what you repeatedly do. When you focus on yourself in silence, that consistency strengthens. Over time, your nervous system stabilizes. You become less anxious, less reactive, less dependent on outcomes you can't control. This is why silence makes you intimidating. Not in a negative way, but in a powerful way. People sense depth. They sense certainty. You don't rush your words. You don't overshare. You don't chase attention. And that makes others lean in. Silent confidence also gives you clarity. You stop making decisions to impress others. You start making decisions that serve your future. You choose discipline over comfort, purpose over pleasure, long-term peace over short-term excitement. At this stage, focusing on yourself is no longer an effort. It's who you are. You naturally protect your time, your energy, and your boundaries. You no longer feel guilty for saying no. You understand that every yes to others is a no to your own progress. And now everything comes full circle. You started by staying silent when you wanted to explain yourself. You focused on your growth when others were distracted. You mastered your emotions instead of reacting. You disappeared to rebuild. You let results speak. And now you walk with quiet certainty. People will talk. Let them. Opinions will come and go. Let them. You're no longer living for noise. You're living for impact. This is how lives are leveled up. Not through announcements, but through discipline. Not through words, but through work. Not through validation, but through self-respect. If there's one message you take from this, let it be this. Your life does not change when you talk about it. It changes when you work on it in silence. The world is loud, full of opinions, comparisons, and distractions designed to pull you away from your own path. But the moment you choose to focus on yourself, everything begins to shift. You don't need to announce your growth. You don't need to defend your choices. And you don't need permission to become better. Every hour you spend improving your mind, strengthening your body, building your skills, and mastering your emotions is a quiet investment in a future version of you that will never need to explain how they got there. There will be moments when staying silent feels lonely, when not reacting feels unnatural, when disappearing feels risky. But remember this, nothing powerful is built in comfort. The discipline to stay focused while others are distracted is what separates average lives from exceptional ones. Let your silence sharpen you. Let your focus guide you. Let your results introduce you. One day, people will notice the change. They'll feel the difference in how you move, how you speak, how you carry yourself. And when they ask what happened, you won't need a long explanation. You'll simply smile because you did the work when no one was watching.